My name is Melissa Jimenez. I'm 21 years old. If I had to describe myself in one word, it would be steady. I've always been the type of girl who shows up on time, remembers the little things, and doesn't flake when people need me. I wasn't the kind to light up a room the second I walked in, or make everyone laugh at a party. That just wasn't me. But if you needed someone to lean on, someone who'd quietly keep the world from falling apart when things got messy, that was me. And for a while, Ethan loved me for it. He used to say I made him feel grounded, that I was the anchor when he was floating too far. Back then, I thought that was the highest compliment someone could give me, that maybe being the safe one meant I'd finally found my place in someone's heart. We met sophomore year of college. Ethan was in a student social club that organized mixers, charity events, weekend getaways, anything that gave him an excuse to gather people around. He had a kind of presence that pulled others in, always laughing, always late, always juggling 3 conversations at once. I was the opposite. I worked part-time at a little independent bookstore on the corner of campus, spent my evenings with my nose in a novel, and kept my circle small, maybe too small. But somehow he noticed me. I still remember the first time we spoke. He was running late to class, dropped his binder in the hallway, and while everyone else stepped over it, I knelt down to help him gather the loose papers. He cracked a joke about needing a personal assistant, and I didn't even laugh. I just handed him the last paper and said, or maybe just a better folder. For some reason, he found that funny. From then on, it was like he decided I was someone worth pulling into his orbit. He started dropping by the bookstore under the excuse of studying, though he never bought anything. We'd walk across campus together, and he'd fill the air with stories about his friends, his plans, his latest late-night adventures. I listened more than I spoke, and I think that's what hooked him. He liked that I paid attention. He liked that I didn't compete for the spotlight, that I let him shine. And I liked that he made even the dullest Tuesday night feel like a memory worth saving. For months, things were good. Ethan would crash at my apartment after his club meetings, leave his jacket draped over my chair, fall asleep on my couch with his laptop open while pretending to study. Those little details, the casual mess he left behind, made it feel like our lives were intertwining. Like this was more than just a college fling. But over time, steady began to feel less like a compliment and more like a cage. I noticed it the first time Ethan introduced me to his friend Maya. She was in his club too. Funny, effortlessly charming, always the one with a quick comeback. The way Ethan lit up around her was different. Not subtle different either. She'd toss out some dumb joke, and Ethan would laugh harder than I'd ever heard him laugh at mine. His phone buzzed during dinner, and he'd angle the screen away but reply instantly. When I asked who it was, he'd shrug, "Just Maya. Relax, Melissa. You get jealous too easily." The words were said with a smile, but there was an edge beneath them, like my suspicion was the problem, not his behavior. I told myself not to push. I didn't want to be the insecure girlfriend. I wanted to trust him. But the cracks started showing in small ways. "Melissa, you don't have to work so much," he'd say. "You're missing out on the fun part of being young." Or, "Why don't you ever just let go? You're always so careful, always serious." The way he said it wasn't playful. It was like my steadiness, the very thing he once claimed to need, had become my flaw. And I started to wonder if he was right. Maybe I wasn't enough. Maybe what he really wanted was someone like Maya, loud, magnetic, the kind of person who never had to try to be noticed. One night, I caught him laughing at his phone again, the kind of belly laugh I hadn't heard in weeks. His thumb hovered over the screen before he quickly locked it. I asked softly, "Who's that?" He didn't look at me when he answered. "Just Maya." The way he said it, flat, casual, dismissive, was almost worse than if he'd snapped. And the look he gave me right after, that look that said, "You're being insecure again, Melissa." And just like always, I let it go. Because I thought he'd never crossed that line. I thought he knew what we had was solid. But what I didn't realize back then was that I was the only one who saw it that way. I used to think being someone's safe place meant being irreplaceable. That if I was loyal enough, patient enough, steady enough, no one could look past me. But soon, Ethan would show me exactly how wrong I was. The night it happened, there was no storm, no screaming fight, no broken glass or slammed doors. Just silence. Ethan had invited me over after one of his club meetings. I thought it would be like any other night. Maybe order takeout, scroll through Netflix, pretend to study before inevitably collapsing into laughter about something small and stupid. But when I walked into his apartment, the air felt wrong, heavy. He was sitting on the edge of his bed, scrolling on his phone. No quick kiss, no sarcastic, "you're late." He didn't even look up until I set my bag down. "Everything okay?" I asked. "Yeah, kind of." His voice was flat, clipped. That's when I knew. The way you know right before a car crash, when your stomach drops before the impact. I sat down in the chair across from him, heart already pounding. "Ethan, what's going on?" He sighed, like I was dragging the truth out of him. "Look, I don't want you to freak out, okay? It's not a big deal." The hairs on my arms stood up. "Just say it." Finally, he looked at me. And the casualness in his expression is something I'll never forget. Like he was about to tell me he forgot to pick up groceries. I kissed Maya. For a moment, my brain refused to process the words. I kissed Maya. "You what?" "I kissed her," he repeated, still calm, as if saying it twice would make it easier. "It wasn't some huge thing. It just happened after the meeting the other night. Don't make it bigger than it is." I stared at him, waiting for him to laugh, to backtrack, to admit it was some awful joke, but he just crossed his arms, like he'd rehearsed this moment. "You kissed her," I said slowly. "Yes," he said. Then he added something that cut deeper than the confession itself. "Don't be mad, it was just a kiss. And honestly, she matters more." The words hit like ice water poured straight into my chest. She matters more. My lips parted, but no sound came out. The room blurred around me. The cluttered shelves, the posters on the wall, the pile of laundry in the corner. All of it faded until it was just him, sitting there, telling me I was the placeholder. "Someone who matters more than me?" I whispered. He hesitated. That hesitation told me everything. But then he pushed forward, almost offensive. "I mean, yeah, kind of. You're steady, Melissa. You're good to me. But Maya understands me in a way you don't. With her, it's different, more fun. You're serious all the time." My chest tightened, but no tears came. No rage either, just a cold, hollow clarity. I realized then that he wasn't confessing because he regretted it. He was confessing because he thought I would bend, like I always did. That I'd accept second place as long as he threw me scraps of attention. I stood up slowly, my bag strap cold against my palm. Ethan looked confused, like he'd expected a fight. Screaming, accusations, maybe even me begging him not to leave. He looked like he had lines rehearsed for a battle that would never come. Instead, I just said, "Okay, then you won't need me anymore." His eyes widened. "Wait, what? That's it? You're just going to leave?" I didn't answer. I walked out the door, down the hallway, and into the night without looking back. When I got home, I sat on the edge of my bed for hours, my shoes still on, my bag still at my feet. The world felt muted. No buzzing thoughts, no frantic replay of his words, just silence. Except for one sentence, looping over and over. "She matters more." Not like a dagger, not even like an open wound, more like a switch being flipped. The light I'd been shining on him all this time just went dark. And that's how Ethan lost me. Not with drama, not with fireworks, but with 7 words that showed me exactly where I stood. The morning after I walked out of Ethan's apartment, I half expected to wake up in tears, clutching my phone, replaying every detail in my mind like a wound I couldn't stop pressing. But when the sunlight cut across my room, all I felt was empty. Not devastation, not fury, just the strange stillness of a world without him in it. I didn't text him. I didn't call. I didn't beg for answers. And that silence terrified him more than anything else I could have done. By the 3rd day, my phone buzzed with his name. "Ethan, hey, can we talk? It wasn't as bad as you're making it out to be." I stared at the message until the screen went dark. Then I slipped the phone back into my pocket and went on with my shift at the bookstore. The text kept coming, swinging wildly between tones. "Ethan, you're overreacting. I told you the truth because I respect you. Doesn't that count for something?" Ethan, "So you're just going to ghost me, after everything?" Ethan, "Melissa, I miss us. You didn't even fight for me. Do you know how that makes me feel? Like I wasn't worth it." The irony nearly made me laugh. He was the one who said she mattered more, and now I was supposed to fight for second place? No. Instead, I poured all my energy into myself. I picked up extra shifts at the bookstore, the quiet smell of paper and ink becoming a kind of refuge. I dragged myself to the gym with my roommate twice a week until it became habit. I forced myself to focus in class, raising my grade in a course I'd nearly failed the semester before. And slowly my life started to look different. My boss commented one day, "You're sharper lately, Melissa. Focused. Keep it up." My mom, during one of our late-night calls, said, "You sound lighter, happier, like yourself again." And she was right. The strangest part? It wasn't hard. I thought letting go of him would feel like tearing my chest open. But once he showed me what I truly was to him, a placeholder, the steady backup plan, it was like the illusion shattered. There was nothing left to miss. Word travels fast on campus. Even if you don't want the updates, they find you anyway. A girl from my literature class mentioned casually, "Oh, I saw Ethan and Maya at the party Friday." Another time, a mutual acquaintance laughed, "Did you know she basically moved into his place already?" I just nodded, sipping my coffee. I didn't ask for details. But the tone people used when they talked about him told me enough. It didn't take long for the cracks to show. Apparently, Ethan was far more charming in public than he was behind closed doors. With Maya, he was colder, distant, the kind of guy who made you feel special in front of an audience, then dismissed you once the curtain closed. He'd openly flirt with other girls at bars, even while Maya was standing right there. He'd disappear for days without responding to her messages. Someone even whispered that he bragged about hooking up with another girl while Maya was in the room. Brutal. But that wasn't my story anymore. While Ethan's world spiraled, mine steadied. I stacked my savings, finally replaced the cracked laptop I'd been nursing since freshman year, and even painted my apartment walls a warm cream color, something I'd been putting off for months. Each small step was like reclaiming a piece of myself I hadn't realized I'd given away. And yet, every so often, late at night, I'd hear his voice in my memory. She matters more. It no longer broke me, but it did remind me. Remind me that I never wanted to settle for being anyone's second choice again. I thought silence would be the end of it. Weeks had passed since Ethan's confession, and I had built a rhythm without him. Work, class, gym, sleep, repeat. My days weren't glamorous, but they were mine. Then, out of nowhere, my phone buzzed one evening with a name I hadn't seen in weeks. Ethan. "Hey, I miss talking to you. Hope you're okay." I stared at it for a long minute, thumb hovering, before I locked my phone and went back to folding laundry. The next message came a few days later. Ethan. "So, you're really just going to ignore me forever? I told you the truth because I respected you. You're acting like I cheated with 10 people or something." I muted the conversation. Then came the guilt trip. "Ethan, you didn't even fight for me. Do you know how that made me feel? Like I wasn't worth the effort. Don't you care at all?" I actually laughed out loud at that one. Care? He had kissed another girl and told me she mattered more, and now I was supposed to fight for him? No. But ignoring him didn't make him stop. One night, after a late shift at the bookstore, I walked up the steps to my apartment and froze. He was sitting there, slouched against the railing, hood pulled over his head. For a moment, I thought maybe I'd imagined him, like a ghost conjured by exhaustion. "Melissa," he said, standing quickly, eyes tired but hopeful. "Can we talk?" I didn't move. My keys were clenched in my hand. "About what?" "About us." His voice cracked. "About everything. I messed up, okay? Maya, she used me. She was seeing other guys the whole time. I was stupid. But what we had, that was real. We can fix this, can't we?" I studied him in the dim light. His face looked different, older somehow. Shadows under his eyes, hair unkempt. The confidence I used to envy drained away. And in that moment, I felt nothing. No spark, no longing, no ache to take him back. Just pity. "You told me she mattered more," I said quietly. That was enough for me. His lips parted, panic flashing across his face. "Melissa, no, don't say that. I didn't mean..." But I slipped my key into the door. "Good night, Ethan." The door shut softly behind me. 2 days later, my phone lit up again. This time his tone was different. "Ethan, wow, so that's it? You're really just done with me? After all the time I gave you? You'll never find someone like me again." And he was right. But not in the way he thought. I would never find someone like him again, because I would never accept someone like him again. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the heater. My chest felt steady, my breathing even, and I realized something that almost scared me with its simplicity. I wasn't angry anymore. I wasn't sad. I was free. It happened 2 months later at a mutual friend's birthday party. I almost didn't go. A part of me dreaded the possibility of running into him. But then I thought, why should I miss out because of Ethan? Why should his shadow dictate my choices? So I went. The music was loud, the living room packed with people balancing red cups and shouting over the bass. I was mid-conversation when I felt eyes on me. And then I saw him. Ethan. The moment he spotted me, his steps faltered. He hesitated, then forced a smile like he was about to step onto a stage. I didn't flinch. I just kept talking with the people around me, sipping my drink as if he didn't exist. But he made his way across the room anyway, slipping into the empty chair beside me. "Hey," he said softly, like nothing had happened. Hey, I replied, polite, neutral. He bit his lip, leaned closer. So, you're really not going to talk to me? Not even here? I set my cup down and turned to him, calm as ever. What is there to talk about, Ethan? His expression hardened instantly. I made one mistake. One. And you didn't even fight for me. You just walked away like I was nothing. Do you know how much that messed me up? I held his gaze steady. You told me Maya mattered more. I believed you. That's not me walking away like you're nothing. That's me respecting what you said. His mouth opened, but no words came. You want to call it a mistake? I continued. Fine, but mistakes are tripping over your words in class. Forgetting a homework deadline. What you did wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, and you made it. The noise of the party pulsed around us. Laughter, music, glasses clinking. But between us, there was only silence. Finally, he leaned forward, desperation flickering in his eyes. Melissa, we had something real. Don't tell me you didn't feel it. We can get that back. I know we can. I shook my head slowly. I don't hate you, Ethan. I don't even think about you anymore. Whatever happens in your life now, it has nothing to do with me. I stood, offered a polite smile to the group, and wished them a good night. When I walked out, leaving Ethan alone in the middle of all that noise, I didn't look back. And just like that, the story ended. After that night, there were no more messages, no more surprise visits, no more guilt trips, just silence. I never asked what became of him, but word trickled in anyway. Maya was gone. His grades plummeted. The crowd that once buzzed around him drifted away when the drama became too heavy. Meanwhile, my life kept moving forward. I stacked my savings, landed a better job, and even started seeing someone new, someone kind, grounded, and nothing like Ethan. And for the first time in a long time, I felt steady, free. Ethan once accused me of taking life too seriously, said I was always planning, always too careful. But in the end, stability saved me. It gave me peace when he burned down his own world chasing cheap thrills. I don't replay his words anymore. I don't lie awake wondering what I could have done differently. Because the second he said, she matters more, he handed me all the clarity I ever needed. I walked away, and I never looked back.